My grandmother is who really taught me and made me into the woman who I am today. I think spending time in Ghana made me appreciate my culture. I'm pretty sure Tree was my first language before
Mm.
English. I always say I'm Ghanaian-American. Never do I say I'm American. My vision is a satin empire.
Oh,
Whenever you think about, oh, I wish this product was satin lined, or I wish I had a satin line this. And you're like, no, I don't want you to wish it. I want you to be like, oh, Kin Apparel probably got this. It's crazy because recently, a couple months ago, my mom left me a voice note and she just got emotional because she was like, wow, like she really did it. Those words, especially from a relationship that was rocky in the beginning, it really made my day.
welcome to Pinnacle Code, where we empower second generation and 1.5 generation Black Americans. I'm your host, Ben Arthur. Excited to be joined this week by Philomina Kane. She is a Ghanaian-American content creator and entrepreneur who runs Kin Apparel, which makes functional and inclusive clothing and accessories with an emphasis on hair care. For those of you who are a fan of Shark Tank, Philomina was on the show a few years ago and landed an investment with one of the sharks. She was also named to the Forbes Under 30 list this year in the e-commerce and retail space. Without any further ado, let's go. Born in the Bronx, then went to Ghana for 5 years to live with your grandma, then came back. What do we need to know about your upbringing in both the Bronx and Ghana to understand the woman speaking to me today?
Great question. I would say growing up, it was really being by my grandmother's side, and being her youngest, as I like to say. And my grandmother is who really taught me and made me into the woman who I am today. So
Mhm.
growing up in Ghana, like she taught me to always have faith in God. She taught me compassion, to always remember where I come from, to remember my culture. So I was always inspired by my grandmother, listening to her teachings, and I was always by her side. And I always say, like, it's because I grew up around her that I just have a love for humanity.
Mm,
Ghanaians, especially when you're in Ghana, we're just so hospitable. And I
mhm,
think because my grandmother taught me that essence growing up, I've just always loved helping people. And so some people may say that's cliche or whatever, but honestly, I feel like my true calling or purpose in life is to just see people through their trying times, or be that person that makes someone laugh, or someone that educates someone or entertains someone. So growing up, I've always been in the arts. In school, I was in African dance groups. I was in so many theatrical performances, and that was just kind of like my backbone almost. I just love being a performer. And I
mm,
don't think, and because, and I loved it because it made other people happy, like when I
mm.
performed or when I talked. And I really get that essence from my grandmother. So yeah, I was born in the Bronx. 40 days later, I was taken to Ghana, where I lived with my grandmother for the first 5 years of my life. And growing up, I thought she was my mother, even though my
Mm,
mom would visit from time to time. I thought my grandmother was my mother. And then 5 years later, I was brought back to the Bronx to start kindergarten.
mm,
I remember it was like my mom's friend brought me back to it was T-Bot Avenue, it was an apartment, 2100 T-Bot Avenue. And she was like, knock on the door. So I'm knocking on the door, and this lady opens the door, and I'm like, who is this? Like, I was so confused. And they were like, I'm your mother. And I'm like, uh-huh. So my mom often recounts that I cried
mm,
every day. I didn't eat her food. I was like, who
mm.
are you? Like, where is my mom? But eventually I owned up to the fact that this lady is my mother, and I was raised in the Bronx
Mhm,
for 13 more years until going to college when I was 18. And
mhm,
I would say one thing about my mother, even though growing up we didn't have such a close bond or the best relationship, I do remember that my mom allowed me to be free. She allowed me to explore the arts as well. She
Mm.
even put me into acting school for a year or two because that's something I wanted to do. So growing up, my mom was never the type of mom to be like, "You're gonna be an engineer, scientist, doctor, lawyer." She was never like that. One thing I would say is I really credit the people that were around me, and I always say that like I am a byproduct of other people's generosity, and other people's like belief in me. Um, because yeah, my mom was always that way, and my grandmother as well, and the people that I came to know as I grew up always supported me along the way because they saw my potential. So I didn't do this alone. It definitely comes from fundamentally at a young age how people treat you, and I would say my grandmother and my mom gave me that self-esteem and that willpower to just do what I wanted to do
Mm.
and eventually be good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, Filomeno, you spoke about being a performer at heart, kind of like in Ghana, and then you said your what was it, your mom put you in acting classes. I guess how is that part of yourself maybe still able to show, even though you're a kind of a full on entrepreneur? Do you even get to show that side of yourself just with what you do now?
Definitely, definitely, because even with starting Kin Apparel, really started on YouTube. So before Kin Apparel, I was a YouTuber. I made videos. I was always in front of the camera, and people often say that my videos are so fun and informative. So my personality always shined in all of these videos. It was entertaining. It was like you're learning something, but you're also being entertained. So me being a performer, me liking to be on camera has carried me through my business, my entrepreneurial pursuits and all and growing Kin Apparel because I'm always on camera. And people often say like my personality is the type of personality that needs to be on camera. Like I love being on camera. I love
Mm,
and I think from a young age just always being in plays or dance groups has just prepared me for what I do now because even being a business owner, I'm the type of business owner that uses like a lot of realistic marketing.
mm.
I put myself out there. You often see my face when you come to the Instagram page or our TikTok page. So I've had like I would say a little bit of training, but it's always been part of my personality to be front facing.
Philomena, when you talked about your grandma, I just got a sense you identify so fully just with kind of being from Ghana, embracing the culture and whatnot, and having spent a significant part of your life, obviously in the U.S. in the Bronx specifically. How have those two things together worked to shape your identity?
Yeah, I think spending time in Ghana made me appreciate my culture. I also learned how to speak Tree. I'm pretty sure Tree was my first language before
Mm,
English. Um, and it also gave me an appreciation for where I come from. I always say I'm Ghanaian-American. Never do I say I'm American. Like I'm Ghanaian-American. I very much love my identity and my culture. And I think it wouldn't have been that way if I never got to live in Ghana. That was my first 5 years were spent there. And then when I turned 7, another 2 years was spent there. So it's like culture is what grounds me.
mm,
It's what it's like something that I look forward to or something that I find commonality with other people with. It's like a community almost.
mm.
And I've just yeah, I just love being Ghanaian. I love the food, I love the clothing, I love the people, the I love the language. Yeah, so I wouldn't have it any other way. I think being Ghanaian, getting that aspect at a young age just made me a more grounded person and a person that appreciated more of what I was given. And then coming to America, it was more so okay, like what's this new environment? It was as if I was separated from
Mm,
everything I always knew, and I think that's another. I don't even want to get into this because it's something I went into with my therapist. But
Mm,
sometimes a lot of trauma comes from being separated when you're a child. Like I was born in America, but I was taken to Ghana, and then I was brought back, and I was
yeah.
taken to Ghana again. And then I thought my brother's dad was my dad, but then come to find out, I met my dad 2 years after. So
Mm,
a lot was going on, and I know this is off topic, but I do think parents should be cognizant of trauma. Um, trauma can be instilled in a child at different aspects in their life,
mm,
and sometimes you don't know this is like a trauma, this is something that's going to lead to trauma, but it is something that like I still carry on today. It's separating individuals, not being able to commit to one thing because that's all I knew in my childhood. So it had its good, which was like, the culture aspect, but it also has its bad because it's like, dang, it's an identity crisis sometimes.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel you, and yeah, obviously want to respect just your desire with some of the stuff you've gone over with your therapist and whatnot. Keep that private, but um, just in my own experience, being between cultures, parents born and raised in Ghana. When I have gone to Ghana, I haven't. For me, identity crisis was just the fact that, like, okay, so I'm from Seattle, Washington. I was in an environment where is mainly white and Asian. So I didn't relate to kids I grew up with. Um, when I'd go to Ghana, they're like, "Oh, you're too American. You're not kind of like us." And then just even like the other black Americans, like I didn't really relate to them because my context is different, right? Like my parents are from Ghana. I'd have generations in my family grow up in the U.S., so I always felt like I was in between cultures. And so I say all that to say, just given your own personal experience, what advice would you give to people maybe in shoes kind of like ours about how to be their authentic selves when they're living between cultures? Because I feel like just outwardly, like you've been able to, do so much and embrace your culture, right? And still achieve at the highest levels as an entrepreneur. But for someone who may be struggling that first step, right? Trying to find their identity, what advice would you maybe give to those people?
Yeah. Um, that's a loaded question. I
Yeah.
don't even know where to start. Um, I think what helped me was being surrounded by people from Ghana.
Mm,
So going to school in Spanish Harlem, I went to MCSM high school,
okay.
and there were Ghanaians there.
Mm,
So much so that we started a Azonto African dance group. Even going to Princeton for college, there was some Ghanaians there and some Africans too, other Africans too. So we started a dance group called Dorobuchi. I think when someone is struggling with identity, it's important to have people around you that are from that same identity. So it's like you have a common ground almost, or you understand that you're not the only one. And I feel like identity is very hard to lose when you feel alone. So I've just always been surrounded by Ghanaians growing up. The Bronx has a lot of Ghanaians. My high school had a lot of Ghanaians. College had
mm.
some Ghanaians.
Yeah, yeah.
But being around, and it doesn't even have to only be Ghanaians, but people of a certain mindset, a similar mindset as you, helps you a lot. So I never forgot how to speak tree because my Princeton had tree classes, and
Oh,
Ghanaians took
wow.
that class. Yeah, so it's like I held on to the identity because I made it a point to do so.
Mm,
And I think sometimes you just have to want it. Like there are some Ghanaians that don't even speak Tree, don't really care about that side of their culture. But it's like, hey, if you want it, then you would put in the necessary steps. And for me, the necessary steps was being surrounded by the culture.
got it. No, that's some good stuff. To shift to business a little bit, and I was watching an interview you did during Essence Fest, and you talked about kind of like the steps to getting to like a successful business. You talked about first like building a personal brand around authenticity, and then through that you build a community, and from that uh, you can take your community to a business. Um,
Wait, where's this interview? I didn't see it. It's online. Damn,
yeah,
you did some digging.
yeah, no,
I didn't know it's online. I thought it was just live that
oh,
day.
oh no, it was on YouTube. It was on YouTube.
Oh, I
Yeah.
need the link after this. I want to
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah. No, I got you. I
That's so
got you.
funny.
Yeah, no, I got you. But yeah, you were talking about this like a lot of great wisdom in that chat. Um, but yeah, but I say all that to say because that seems to be like the exact path you took, right? You build a massive community on YouTube, 200,000 plus subscribers through your
Mhm,
Naturally Philo page. You build a community
mhm.
there. You're able to funnel them to Kin Apparel, so to speak. And um, I'm wondering, how do you, with that last step from taking a community and funneling them into your business, how do you do that without maybe turning people off by the fact that um, I guess you're now trying to build a business around your community, so to speak, if that kind of makes sense? Like, how do you kind of maintain the authenticity in kind of taking that next step?
Great question. I think the first step is believing in yourself and having the confidence to do so, and understanding that you've built something so big that why wouldn't your community want to support you? I think sometimes we be in our head too much about like, dang, now I'm gonna ask them to pay for something that I'm making, where it's like, why wouldn't they want to? Where they've been supporting you for years, they've been enjoying your content, and now if you want to monetize your community, people love to support people that they trust and people that they like a lot. And even look at Jackie Aina. People love Jackie Aina. I love her content. So when she came out with the candles and the perfumes, I hopped on it because I'm just like, I know Jackie loves fragrances. She's good. She has a nose for what smells good. So I want to smell like Jackie type of thing. Where it's like with me, Philo has beautiful hair. She takes care of her hair. Her hair is healthy. She's been on this platform for 5+ years, growing her hair with us. So why don't I want to support something
Mm,
that she's about to make that has to do with hair care? Because at the end of the day, that I'm gonna put my all into it because this is a niche that I actually care about because I built all of my content through it. Um, through that specific niche. So I do think it starts with understanding that like why wouldn't your community want to support you? Like you've been there for them. So of course they're gonna want to support. It's nothing to be like shy about or be like, oh, are they gonna buy it? Yes, they like you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's ultimately how my product sold. My first ever Sandline hoodies that I dropped strictly to my YouTube audience. In like the January 18th of 2019.
Hmm.
It was my side hustle. I was like, hey, I'm dropping Sandline hoodies, protect your hair. And they hopped on it. They hopped on it. They loved it. And then every time I would make a video, a hair care video, I'll use like the like 30 seconds to promote the hoodies. Like, hey, Kim Folk, you see what I'm wearing? If you want a Sandline hoodie, here's the link in bio. Use this code for 10% off, type of thing. So it's nothing that you have to spend too much time on. It's
Yeah.
like, just a quick ad and then you go into the video that they clicked on for. And people support. But I do think it's important to know that if you want to build a business that eventually doesn't depend on you, then there's different steps you have to take. So for example, the way I built my business, it was heavily about me. Like it was an influencer turned business owner,
Hmm.
where it's like at the end of the day, how do you scale something like that? And do you want to scale something like that? Because
Yeah.
some people are perfectly fine with just having merch for their audience and there's their little quick side hustle and they do other things. Whereas as with me, I turned into a full-time business, right? So it's like if I want to scale this, what are the other steps that I have to take? And Michael Gerber, he wrote a book called The E Myth, where he talks about when your business is solely dependent on you, it's not a business, it's a job. So how do
Mm,
you turn yeah, how do you make it actually a business? And it requires build putting systems in place and documenting everything so that you can then give to other people and be like, hey, take what I've built and continue it and continue furthering it. So you don't always have to be the face. Like you're building systems that will work without you. So that's where I am right now, trying to navigate that space too. Because I don't know if you saw, but I haven't posted a YouTube video in
In
so
3
long.
years. I saw in
And
3 years.
yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't posted it because I've been so like dedicated to building Kin. But it's crazy because I actually want to get back on YouTube. I'm
Mm.
moving in about 3 weeks into a new city. And
Oh,
part of being in a new city is being motivated to like pick up my camera and vlog
yeah.
because it's new to me. So actually, I'm gonna get back on you. I really miss my audience. Like building a subscriber base of almost 200,000 is no joke. So I really want to get back to that. But yeah, that's to answer your question. Like you shouldn't just do it. People be
For
so
sure.
in their head.
Yeah, no, as I can personally relate to that because I'm in my head all the time. It unfortunately it stops me from doing a lot of things. I'm working on that, but to kind of go off of what you said and the community you've been able to build, what can you say about the work it takes to build a community of that size? I feel like we're in an era where a lot of people think, you know, it's going to be easy or it won't take that long to just pop off on social media or YouTube or whatever. And from everything I could tell, like from looking at your Naturally Philo page, it took years and years of consistent effort. What can you say about the effort required to build a community that truly rocks with you?
Yeah, I mean, you already said it. It takes consistency. It takes consistency, confidence. It takes confidence and consistency. It requires you to create more than you consume. I know every people wake up, they're always on their phone scrolling through TikTok and Instagram, but instead of doing that, it's like think about what you can create before you consume a piece of other content. But it's definitely the confidence aspect and also consistency, but it also has to do with your personality too. People came for the hair care, but they stayed for Philo. They stayed for
Mm,
me because I'm not just giving you like I'm fun to watch. Like it's fun videos. Like you're gonna smile, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna be intrigued, you're gonna subscribe, you're gonna come back. Right. So it's like what type of content are you giving to people where they can't get it elsewhere? And are you able to retain your audience based on the type of content that you're giving them? So a lot of the times I created certain series. I had two really popular series on my channel. One called um, two different hair types, same products, where it's me and my friend, and we have two different hair types, and we try the same products. And it was a fun series. No one else is doing it. We came up with it, and we're just doing it. And people loved it. They kept on coming back. And then I had another series called Philo to the Rescue, where I
mm,
you wrote in, I invited people, and I did their hair. So it's like people write in, I read it, and then I'm like, all right, I'll pick you. I'm gonna come get you, and I'll do your hair. So
mm.
that was fun. It was like extreme home makeover, but like the hair
Yeah.
care edition.
Okay.
So it's like, what are you offering people that other people aren't offering them? Because that's gonna make them keep coming back instead of like you just doing the same thing. A lot of the times it has to do with your personality, the way you deliver content, and the type of content that you deliver will retain a community.
On your Shark Tank segment from a few years ago, there was you indicated how I guess maybe there were members of your family who weren't fully on board with I guess what you were doing just from entrepreneurial perspective, going all in on that. Um, and you got quite emotional about it. I'm curious, what did it take to get
Mhm.
past that?
Yeah, I think our parents and our family, they just want the best for us. And a lot of the times, because they're not really of this generation, they think there's like one steadfast or one lane to go through to be successful. And me basically, there was an intervention called for me after church one day, where my mom was telling my grandmother that I had decided to not go back to school because at the time I had gotten into Columbia School of Public Health, the Millman School of Public Health, and I deferred for a year, and then after the year I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna go.
Mm,
And my mom was upset because she thought that was like my career path, becoming a scientist. And that's what she knew to be like the one thing that she could see, like, oh, this is going to be lucrative for my daughter. Where it's like I mean, she didn't know any better. She didn't know that, like, hey, I could do this and make way more. But yeah, that's what I was talking, believe in me. And during the intervention I was just like, mom, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna do this. Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, just believe in me.
mm,
It's crazy because recently, a couple months ago, my mom left me a voice note, and she was basically she was like a 3 minute, no, 5 minute long voice note, and she was like, Philo, I remember that day after church, you said you know what you're doing. You're gonna do this, and you did it. And she was so emotional during the call because I had just my collaboration with Chase Bank. We did a whole campaign with Chase Bank, and it was everywhere, like billboards, TV, everywhere. And my mom said she had caught the commercial, and she's been watching it like 50 times, and she just got emotional because she was like, wow, like she really did it. And she, on the call, she was telling me like, I really, really did it. And I think sometimes it's hard for our parents to believe that this type of work will make us successful, or we will succeed in it, because they see one type of lane that other people are successful. So it's like, why aren't you doing the status quo?
mhm.
Whereas, like, it's 2024. Some people ain't even going to college, and they're good. So yeah, I got emotional because I think it really stems from, I was growing up, or even like that phase in my life, I was just very, very emotional. And it was mainly because I hadn't really dealt with the traumas that I've been through, or just went to therapy and talked through why I am the way I am, and how like my childhood presents itself in my adult life. So I was very emotional during those periods in my life. And now that I've done the work, like, I literally don't even cry anymore. The other day my friend was
Mm.
like, why aren't you crying with me? And I was just like, I don't want to cry. Like, I don't, like, it's not that I'm heartless. It's like I've literally I'm done crying. But yeah, it just got me emotional because I was just thinking about my mom and my grandmother, and that period in time where all they had to do was believe, because I did it. I did it. And it was nice to hear from my mom that, like, she literally got on the phone and was like, you did it. And those words, especially from a relationship that was rocky in the beginning, it really made my day,
That's
made everything
beautiful.
worth it.
That's beautiful. Philomena, what do you want? What is your goal of what you want Kin Apparel to become?
Mhm. Yeah, I always say this, like, my vision is a satin empire. Like, I
Oh,
want, whenever you think about, oh, I wish this product was satin lined, or I wish I had a satin line this. And you're like, no, I don't want you to wish it. I want you to be like, oh, Kin Apparel probably got this. That's really my vision for Kin. Like, whatever your hair touches, I'm gonna satin line it. Like, I
wow.
want to be your go-to hub for satin lined apparel. And in the next 5 years, I really want to build a brand that I can then sell to another, like, conglomerate. Either like a clothing brand or athleisure brand, like a Nike or an Adidas, or selling to a hair care brand like my organics, or being under Procter and Gamble. Like, I really, because we're in between two sectors. Like, there's clothing, but then there's the hair care component of it. And I want to be that type of brand that I don't see myself doing this forever. Like, there are two lanes people can go through. You either want to, this is like what funds your lifestyle and you do it forever, or you want to grow something else. And that's where I am. I want to grow something I could sell because I have other dreams. Like, in the future, I want to start Kin Hair Care, and I want to start a marketing firm to help
Mm,
upcoming small businesses, like, with their digital marketing. So Yeah, I love Kin and I wanna grow it to the best of my ability and then be able to, like, hand it off and then continue on my legacy with other things. So yeah, that's what I envision with Kin. Like, it's right now we're direct to consumer, but I wanna be direct to consumer and B2B. I wanna be, like, that manufacturing hub for other companies that want satin-lined apparel for their company.
What are the systems you have in place to make sure you reach that goal to
Yeah,
eventually exit?
yeah, it really encompasses, like, who's on your team. Right now, when you sometimes, like, your business is not like, right now, I'm not thinking about exiting. Like, I still have to grow the business. Even though we're 4 years in, like, that's just 4 years. Um, I need to get to a point where I'm, like, always profitable, and making way more millions that I am now. So because you have to present a company that someone would wanna buy. So I'm not there at all. I'm not thinking about exiting right now at all. So I'm not taking the necessary steps to exit my business right now. That's in the next 5 to 8 years. But right now, what I am doing is putting the systems and the fundamentals in place, such as having the right people around me, having the right team, working efficiently, going into partnerships with people, starting a wholesale program, stuff in retailers and in like salons, starting to work with influencers because the brand awareness doesn't stop. A lot of people know about Kin, but not enough people know about Kin. So the marketing needs to continue. And we did a crowdfunding campaign where we raised about $350,000 from the kinfolk, our community. So stuff like that. It's like we put that into marketing, we put that into growing the brand. So I haven't even done like a series A, B, C. Like we're still pretty like
Yeah.
in our seed round, early stage level. Yeah.
A big theme of what you said, in terms of like the partners and having the right team in place, that all goes in line with relationships, right? So what have you learned about the characteristics of the people that you need to be around you to get to that place that you eventually see yourself going to?
Yeah, I think as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that no one else is going to love your brand as much as you do. Like, no one else has as much skin in the game as you do. So, you can't just hire someone and expect them to be a completely dedicated like you are. That's just never going to happen. At the end of the day, you're the entrepreneur. You're going to be the one like really fighting and not sleeping at night. So, it's important to know that going in, and then next, it's important to hire people that are doers. You don't have to hire experts all the time, but there are certain personality or characteristic traits, people that can pick up on things very well, people that pay attention to detail very well, people are able to analyze data, right? And people that understand a startup and what a startup requires. A startup requires people to be like, a startup requires people to be flexible. It's
Mm.
not always going to be the same all the time. I might require something of you Tuesday that I never required for you in the past 3 months. Like, there's ups and downs, there's changes, right? So a startup environment, it's a very heated environment sometimes. Sometimes you
Mm.
just don't know what's about to happen, and you have to be the type of person that's willing to work under stress, work under hectic conditions, and also be dedicated and understand what the end goal is, right? So this company, that's why a startup, an entrepreneur should always tell their team what the vision is. Hey, this is the bigger picture. It's going to take a lot to get there, but we are always working towards that bigger picture. And it's important to take care of good people. When you have good people, you hold on to them and you give them the necessary things they need. Like, hey, Philo, can you pay for this training? It's gonna help me get to X, Y, and Z for the company. Sure, because you're building up yourself, and I know that what you learn from that is going to also support kin. So it's very important to listen to your team as well and keep good people around. And also as a startup, you can give equity. So I have like a
Mhm.
stock option pool, employee stock option pool for employees that would like a bit of equity, so they know, hey, like I actually have some skin in the game as well. So it prompts them to even work
Yeah.
harder, work towards the common goal. So yeah, stuff like that. And I always tell people, like, you can take your time, but also fire fast when it's not working out. You know, if you and also follow your gut. Sometimes, like, we don't follow our gut, and people get into the company and like, damn it, I knew it. I knew I should have followed my gut. I knew this person wasn't gonna be right. So, and sometimes we're just like, oh, let me wait it off. Let me see if they change. Nah, like, let that go fast. If you're not really feeling it, if it doesn't support the culture of the company that you're building, because culture can make a company culture can make and break a company. It can be so uncomfortable if you don't have the right people around you. And yeah, it's important to know what you're good at and then hire for what you're not good at. But always keep in mind what type of people, because there's so many different personality types, but understand what personality types that you can and you're willing to work with within your company.
So what is your personality type? What are you good at? What are the strengths that you bring to the table in your company, Kin Apparel, that you need, other people to maybe fill in maybe the deficiencies that you see in yourself?
Yeah, I've always been a marketer. I love marketing. I love digital marketing. I love making money. I love being able to come up with ideas that lead to conversions. So going into it, I feel like marketing is the one of the biggest things you need to know how to do to even start a company, especially like a consumer-based company that, like, you're selling a product for. So going into that, like, because that was my strong suit, hiring for other stuff is easier because it's like I don't have to hire someone else to make the money. I know how to make it. I just need you to take care of the logistics. So yeah, I know I'm good at marketing. Um, and my personality type, I'm a very kind person. I'm a very kind person and very caring person as well. Um, I I'm easygoing, but also very anxious at times. And sometimes I need people around me that ground me, that
Mhm.
are able to be like, yo, let's talk. It's okay. We know what you're going through. Breathe. This what you're working on. All right, I could take that off your back so you can focus on this. Like, people that I can easily communicate with. Yeah, I'm a very positive, happy person. But sometimes, and entrepreneurship is hard, but it's like the type of game where we're like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this to the best of my ability, but I'm also gonna take care of myself, because if I'm not good, this company not gonna be good, especially in the beginning stages. So yeah, I make sure to pray, to go to church, to walk, to go to the gym, to make sure my routine is on point. And I'm also the type of person that always has a plan. Like, I really can't work without a plan. I write everything. Like, today, this is my list of things to do today.
Mm.
So, like, I always have a plan. Like, and I can't multitask. Like, finish one thing, boom, next. Multitasking gets nothing done for me.
Yeah,
So
I relate
so
to
yeah, I'm the
that.
type of person, yeah, I need to stick to a routine. And once I'm on that routine, like, nah, there's no shaking. Yeah.
You alluded to the difficulties of entrepreneurship. So I was wondering, what would you say is maybe been the most difficult obstacle you've dealt with at Kin Apparel, and what did it take to get past that?
Uh yeah, there's been some things, like, in the early stages, just being transparent with customers about our manufacturing issues. So sometimes, I mean, I started this business during COVID, so it took like 6 weeks to get inventory to customers.
Mm.
And it's just being transparent with customers, like, hey, we're a small business, we're going through the pandemic, and understanding that, sometimes customers don't read the website. So making sure you over communicate with them. So transparency has been something that I've been doing from like a very early point in the company. And you will realize that the customers community really appreciate a really transparent brand. It makes them feel more connected to the brand and makes the brand also feel more realistic and not like just robots packing orders and stuff. So yeah, at the very early stages going through like manufacturing problems, or sometimes like we received a shipment and there was like this like yellow mark on all the hoodies. We're like, I can't ship this to my customers. Like I'm just like no. So just manufacturing issues, and also sometimes you have funding issues, like money issues. So there was a point in time where we had to take out like a really quick loan, and we got it through our financial advisor was able to get two people to loan us about $150,000 at a certain point in September of last year, and we were able to use that money to make like to have a successful year. Basically, we ended the year off with 3 million, and it was just like if we didn't receive that bridge loan right then and there, I don't even know. I don't think we would have been in the negatives.
Hmm.
But it was like even getting to that point was like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? And it's because sometimes I would remove myself from other aspects of the business because I'm so good at marketing. And one thing that my investor Emma Greed from Shark Tank has taught me is like, you're good at marketing. All right, well, you need to be good at all these other things as well. As the CEO, you need to have your eyes and ears in all these other departments so it doesn't like escape you. So you understand everything that's going on. Yeah, you can hire for that and you can have other people doing it, but make sure you have an understanding of everything that's going on because you just never know. And last year around September, it just lost me. I was like, oh shit, like I'm about to be in the negatives. But thank God for people that believed in me and was able to give me that 150 loan that we were able to pay back this year. Um, but yeah, it's like making sure you, and also if I had the right CFO at that time, I don't even think I would have been in that predicament. But it's like, yeah, things just be happening. And what's crazy? One thing I've noticed is like things be happening, but somehow, I'm not even gonna say somehow, because of the grace of God, and because I am so blessed and my praying mother, we just always come out of these troubles, these challenges. Like it's crazy. So yeah, I'm just appreciative.
No, I love that. I love that. Kind of winding down here, Philomena, and then we'll kind of get you out of here. Where can people go on social media or online to support you and to support Kin Apparel as well?
Yeah, so you can find me at Naturally Philo on Instagram, Naturally Philo, soon to be back on YouTube at Naturally Philo. And if you would like to support Kin Apparel or Satin Line hoodies, the one I'm wearing right now, hoodies fit all
Yeah.
your hair.
There you go. There you go.
If you would like to support Kin Apparel, you can find us at kinapparel.com or on Instagram at Kin Apparel underscore or TikTok Kin Apparel underscore as well. So yeah, that's us.
Dope, dope. Yeah, and for all you listening, all that will be in the show notes. So please be sure to tap in with Kin Apparel. I need to get me one of those satin lined hoodies myself. They look pretty
Yes,
fresh. I can't lie. And I saw those
yes,
bucket hats on your website too. I got to get one of those too.
yes.
Uh,
You will love them. You will love them.
yes, yes, ma'am. Uh, Last one. This is kind of something I ask all my guests at the end. It's kind of broad a little bit, so kind of bear with me. But what is one thing you believe that people can do more of to get a step closer to reaching their pinnacle or to maximize their personal potential?
One thing people could do to maximize their potential.
Correct.
Hmm, that's a good question. And I'm gonna say to stop being lazy and just do. I really think no, honestly, and I've gone through this
Mhm.
too. I really think the spirit of procrastination is on a lot of people. And it's even on me too. I can be extremely transparent about that. Sometimes I know I have to do something and literally I just like I'm not doing it. I just wait till the last minute. And I'm notorious for being a person that waits till the last minute. But I really think people need to pray that spirit off of them because there's so many things and opportunities that you can miss because you just procrastinating or you just lazy. So I will really say people really need to just do like put I actually had this like big calendar, this glass calendar on my wall. I took it down because I'm moving, but it's like having the calendar there and being able to X out each day, like, okay, day one of changing my habit, day two of changing my
Mm.
habit. And you will realize after like 60 days, it's like, all right, yes, this is I'm good. I'm good now. Same thing that happened to me when I started going to the gym, and now I do it frequently now. Or when I started like going to church or praying more. Like it's just like we just got to get ourselves out of that funk. And I really think that will help people achieve so much more if they're able to just like just get up and do. If it looks to you, if it looks like picking up a camera and just posting your content, then so be it. Or if it looks like stepping into the gym one day, so be it. But I would say like, and also just being surrounded by the right people and the right circle and people that motivate you also help as well. I'm extremely motivated by Black women. When I see Black women succeeding online and I read about them, I'm like, oh shit, like let me get my shit together. Let me get myself together. Let me get up. Let me do this. I could do this. So find what motivates you. Yeah, and you'll be good.
Awesome. Philomina Kane, thank you so much for your time, and for all you listening, whether it be via YouTube or Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Thank you guys for rocking with me. You guys make this possible every week. Be sure to hit subscribe, like, engage with the episode as well. And you guys know the deal. Every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time, I'm gonna keep doing this week in, week out. But until next time, I'll see you guys soon. All right, peace out.
Yes, thank you.